Lena Carter's fingers trembled as the folded paper slid from a patient's chart and landed face up on the waxed floor. She crouched, lifted it, and read the hurried scrawl. "Don't trust anyone. My life depends on you. Meet me at midnight. Daniel." Her breath snagged. The late-shift corridor of Riverside General Hospital hummed with a tired light, and the wall clock was limping toward 12. She glanced both ways, heart pounding, as if the ceiling cameras could read the message through her skin. What did he mean? Why would his life hinge on her, a 21-year-old nurse still learning to walk in quiet shoes? Lena had been here 6 months, careful with charts, careful with hearts, and even more careful with rules. But Daniel Cole, the 27-year-old in room 18, had rearranged all her carefulness the moment he arrived 3 weeks ago, with chest pains and a look that said he had already measured every exit. He wasn't like the others. A calm surrounded him, the kind that shouldn't belong to a man told his heart might fail. Moonlight from his window always seemed to find him. When he smiled, it felt like the room leaned closer. He asked her about her classes, her mother's cooking, what scent she put on her wrist to feel brave. He remembered everything. "Lena," he called now, barely louder than the breath of the vent. She pushed open his door, shut it quietly behind her, and was greeted silver light and the soft metronome of his monitor. He was propped up, hair a little messy, eyes steady. "You got my note," he said. It was not a question. "What is this?" she whispered, holding the paper. "Why write 'My life depends on you'?" He patted the edge of the bed. "Sit, please." She sat, aware of the warmth beneath the sheet, aware of him. "Daniel, if this is a joke—" "It isn't." He reached, covered her hand with his. A small spark ran along her wrist like a fuse. "Before I tell you everything, I need to know if you feel it too." "Feel what?" "This current between us, like the universe misfiled 2 people and then tried to fix it." He gave a shaky smile. "Do you think about me when you go home?" She opened her mouth to deny it, found the denial missing. "Yes," she said, so softly the word nearly fell apart. "I think about you too," he said. "Every minute. When I'm scared, you steady me. When I close my eyes, I see you walking into this room like you always do, chin up, pretending you aren't brave when you are." "That's not professional," she murmured. "I know," he said, moving closer, "but it's true, and the truth matters now." His thumb brushed her knuckles. "Lena, I think I'm falling in love with you." The monitor kept its patient tick, like it wasn't surprised. Her chest was a hive. She wanted to laugh at the timing and cry at the timing. "What if you don't make it?" she whispered. "Then at least I'll have known what love is for a heartbeat," he said, a sad kind of light in his eyes. "But I want more than a heartbeat. I picture us at the ocean, shoes off, you telling me the names of the waves. I picture breakfast and not being afraid of morning." The alarm cut him off. The monitor leapt into a frantic stutter. His hand shot to his chest. Lena stood in one motion, checked the screen, pressed the call button, then canceled it just as quickly, something in her gut saying, "Don't." She eased him flat, counted breaths. As she adjusted his sleeve, she noticed a constellation of small red dots along his arm. Not from the IV. Older. Wrong. "Daniel, what are these?" she asked. His eyes sharpened. "I need you to listen," he said, voice dropping. "There's evidence hidden in my apartment. If anything happens to me, you must find it. It's the only way this ends." "Ends?" she asked. Her mouth was dry. "What is happening?" "Some of the doctors aren't who they say they are. Room 18 isn't safe. This floor isn't safe. If I die, don't believe it was natural. And whatever happens, don't let them inject me again." Footsteps in the hall. He squeezed her wrist. "Hide!"
"Daniel, please."
She slipped behind the curtain, pulled it just enough to leave a needle of sight. The door opened. A man in a white coat entered, the wrong height to be Dr. Whitman. He didn't look at Daniel so much as look through him. "Time for medication," he said. "I don't want it," Daniel managed. "That's not your choice." The man drew a syringe, tapped it once, and pushed it into the IV port with casual precision. "I know what you're doing," Daniel said. It sounded like a secret he was mailing to the dark. "Sleep," the man said, and he left the room without glancing anywhere else. Lena was at Daniel's side in a breath. His eyelids fluttered, breathing slowed. She scanned the chart. The injected drug was absent, not a cardiac med at all. Her stomach went cold. Someone was curating his decline. She pulled up a chair and planted herself. She watched the rise and fall of his chest, like counting stairs in the dark. She whispered the names of the waves he had imagined: spindrift, breaker, hush, because it made her feel like she was doing something. When the clock read 12:47, a shadow passed in the hall, paused, and moved on. She didn't sleep. He woke with morning like a thin cloud parting. "Daniel," he whispered. "I'm here," she said, catching his hand. "That wasn't Dr. Whitman. He gave you something that doesn't belong in your chart. Daniel, someone is trying to kill you." "I know," he said. "No drama, just fact. I've known for weeks." "Then why not call the police?" "Because the person responsible has keys, badges, friends. Because I don't know who sits on which side of the glass." Her throat tightened. "Why you?" "Because I used to do math for devils," he said. "Biotech industries hired me to help develop novel compounds. I thought we were building medicines. When I found out they were testing on unconsenting patients through a secret arrangement with this hospital, I tried to walk away. They couldn't let me. Slow poison looks like a tired heart. Slow poison is quiet. Last night, they weren't slow." She swallowed. "How do we stop them?" He fumbled under his pillow, produced a tiny brass key on red thread, pressed it into her palm. "Central Bank on Harbor Street, Box 112. Inside are documents, photos, recordings, enough to cut through their lawyers." "And then?" "You take it to someone clean. District attorney, press, whoever will listen first. Don't bring it back here." "Who did they take from you?" she asked softly, remembering the way his voice had broken on the word devils. He stared at the window. "My sister," he said. "Maya. She disappeared 3 months ago when I refused to change data. They took her to keep me obedient." Her vision tunneled. "Maya Brooks." The name came out small and terrified. He looked at her like the world had tilted. "You know her?" "She's my sister," Lena said, grabbing the metal bedrail because the floor had learned to move. "We told her she was going to Paris. Then she vanished. We filed a report. Nothing." "She isn't in Paris," he said. "They're using family like levers." He swallowed hard. "The box has a letter for her, and one for you." Footsteps again, heavier, voices. He glanced at the door and back to her. "You have to go." "I'm not leaving you." "If they see you, they'll know. They will take you to stop the evidence. Save Maya. Save the others. Promise." "Daniel, I promise," he said, and the way he said it closed all the exits. "I promise." She bent and kissed his forehead, a single kiss made of sand and salt, then slid the window open. The maple outside held its branches like hands. She swung down, landed in mulch, and ran. Central Bank opened at 7. She was there with the key warm in her fist, hair damp with the sweat of 100 heartbeats. The clerk didn't look twice. The steel door swallowed her into a quiet room of little doors. She found box 112, turned the key, and pulled the metal drawer. Evidence. Photographs of pale hands, spreadsheets, lab memos, a USB drive, an audio recorder labeled with dates. At the bottom, 2 envelopes. Maya, handwritten, and Lena, careful block letters. She opened hers. Lena, if this is in your hands, I'm past the part where I get to say things out loud. I'm sorry I brought danger to your feet. You were the only good accident in a season of bad plans. In a life where truth split me open, you stitched me back. I am not sorry I loved you. If there is another timeline, meet me by the water. Daniel. Her tears hit the corner of the paper and bloomed into misshapen stars. She put everything back in order, shut the box, and walked out into a world that had decided to keep moving. She didn't go to hospital security. She didn't go to administration. She drove to the district attorney's office and said the sentence that opens doors. I have evidence and a list of names. By noon, Riverside General swarmed with officers in Navy windbreakers. The man with the wrong height was handcuffed near the vending machines. A pharmacist cried quietly as someone read her rights. In a windowless wing of biotech's research annex, behind a door disguised as a utility closet, they found a room with a cot and a calendar without dates. Maya was there, alive, too thin, eyes enormous. She looked at Lena as if her sister had been pulled from a dream and made into a person again. They held each other so tightly, the world had to go around them. When Lena finally returned to room 18 with 2 detectives and a nurse supervisor, the bed was made. The chart was gone. The computer record said transferred, but there was no destination field. The window was open, like a mouth, shaping an answer and never giving it. 1 week later.
6 months later, winter bowed to a wet spring. A headstone appeared in the old part of Meadow Cross Cemetery, the letters clean and unweathered. Daniel Cole. It should have made everything real. Instead, it made reality feel like a trick. The hospital sent a memo reminding staff about media protocols. The administrators who didn't know how to look at their shoes learned. On Tuesdays, Lena visited the grave. She told him small things to keep the big thing from eating her. How the vending machine's blueberry muffins had improved. How Nurse Ramirez swore by a new brand of coffee. How the night custodian hummed off-key love songs that made the hall sound less like a place where breathing stops. She told him the trials were going as trials go. Slowly, then all at once, then slowly again. One Tuesday, she brought a white stone from the river and set it on top of the headstone, a bead against forgetting. They're going to prison, she said. Maya sleeps without flinching. I planted basil on the windowsill. It's living, somehow. The wind moved through the trees as if the branches were doing their own inventory. At home, Maya would ask, "Do you want me to come with you?" And Lena always said, "Next week." And they would sit on the couch and eat toast with butter and too much honey, and it would be quiet. Sometimes quiet is what you choose when every other sound is too large. The hospital kept operating because that is what hospitals do. The hall learned new footsteps. A baby was born with hair that stood up like it was surprised to be here. An old man fell asleep and did not wake, his daughter holding his hand and smiling through tears, saying, "Okay, Dad, okay," to a room that believes her. The world makes room for both kinds of stories.
One night, near the end of spring, Lena stood at the window of room 18, now occupied by a woman who snored softly and dreamed of yellow bicycles. The maple outside was throwing leaves like green coins. Lena slipped her fingers into her pocket and touched the red thread from Daniel's key. She had tied it around her wrist for weeks after, then tucked it away, then brought it back out when the verdicts began. Nurse Ramirez found her at the window. "You're thinking loud," she said. Lena smiled. "Always." "Eat," Ramirez ordered, pushing a granola bar into her hand. "I'm not hungry." "Eat anyway." Lena did. Simple things sometimes work like spells. In court, the defense tried to turn experiments into misunderstandings. The prosecutor pressed play on the audio recorder. A voice filled the room, clinical and bored. Dose increased, subject tolerated, notify procurement. The gallery inhaled as one organism. When the jury filed back in and the foreman stood, time did the thing where it both stopped and sprinted. Guilty, guilty, guilty. The words stacked like bricks you could live behind. Sentences followed, years with numbers that made accountants nod and families cry. On a Sunday with gold in it, Lena and Maya took a bus to the ocean. It was not the one Daniel had imagined, but it was water and horizon and gulls stealing fries from distracted tourists. They walked with their shoes in their hands until the sand cooled and the tide began its patient retreat. Maya took Lena's wrist and traced the faint mark where thread had lived. "You loved him," Maya said. "I still do," Lena answered. "Then we will carry that," Maya said, like someone setting down a bowl and filling it with something clean. They wrote Daniel's name in the wet sand and watched the letters blur and then disappear as if a hand had smoothed them. "He wanted breakfast without fear," Lena said. "So, we will eat breakfast," Maya replied. They found a diner that smelled like oranges and coffee and ordered pancakes the size of plates and ate until sweetness made them laugh. Back in the city, Lena visited the grave one more time with the ocean still on her skin. She told the stone that held his name, "We did it. We did what you asked. We saved who we could. They will not do this again." The basil on her sill had split into two plants. She pinched a leaf and held it to her nose and found pepper and summer. On the way home, she passed Harbor Street. The bank door glinted. She imagined another girl walking inside with a key that meant danger and rescue at once. She hoped that girl, whoever she might be, would also find someone at the end of the hallway who said her name like a first language.